Hello. Hello. Class will be at
Yeah. Online people, can you please come? Are you able to audible my voice?
Yes, sir.
My voice is audible, right? Okay.
Audible, sir.
And screen share. Hope you are able to see my screen.
Visible, sir. Visible.
Okay, thank you. So hi all, welcome to the second session. So in this session, we are going to discuss about database concepts. Before discussing about database concepts, first we'll try to understand what is the importance of database for cloud data engineering. So this is one important thing we need to understand, because we are going to spend 10 to 15 days of time. From first 1 or 2 days, we'll go with the basics, then we'll go with the advanced, then we'll go with the very advanced topics. But if you are going to journey for database concepts 10-15 days, you need to understand why we are spending that much of time on the database concepts, and what is the importance of database concepts, and how it is going to play very important role as part of your cloud data engineering work. So once you can understand all these things, with that you can able to focus more on the database. Okay, if I'm not going to explain why that is how database we are going to use in the real time. So what will happen, you can able to feel that okay, no need to learn the database and no need to do the practice on database. You will feel like that. That's the reason first we'll try to understand so how this database is going to helpful for the cloud data engineer. Once you understand that, then you can understand that what is the importance of this database in our cloud data engineer journey. With that we can able to focus more to learn the database concepts. Is it clear? Okay, now how many of you know data warehousing architecture? I think new people don't know. I think old people might be are having some idea. So I will do one thing. As a cloud data engineer, every day we are going to deal with what? We are going to deal with data only only. So as a cloud data engineer, every day we are going to deal with the data only. But where this data will present?
In the database.
So in the online, someone is saying the database, which means as a cloud data engineer, you are going to work on only database.
Servers.
No, right? Servers. Okay.
Files in the form of files.
Okay. So see here, as a cloud data engineer, every day we are going to work on the data. Everyone will agree that, but we need to understand where we are going to have this data. Okay, don't assume that we are going to have data in the only databases only. What will happen in the real time? We are going to get the test files. In the test files, we are going to have the data. We are going to get the JSON files. In the JSON files also, we are going to have the data. Or we are going to get the XML files. In XML files, we are going to have the data. Or we are going to get the CSV files. In the CSV files also, we are going to have the data. Or we are going to get the data in the Parquet files, or we are going to get data in the WARC files, or we are going to get data in the Avro files, or we are going to get data in the sequence files. So like this, in the different files also, we are going to see the data. Okay, so if anyone don't know about the Parquet, WARC, Avro sequence, don't worry. In the coming classes, we are going to discuss about what is the Parquet format, what is the WARC, what is the Avro, what is the sequence. All these things we are going to cover as part of our coming classes. But I am assuming that definitely everyone aware of test files. If anyone don't know the test file, hope everyone know, right? So just you can take that example. In real time, we are getting all the data in the test file. Whomever knows other files, you can assume that in the real time, we are going to have the data in the test files, JSON files, XML files, CSV files, Parquet, WARC, Avro, and sequence. We are going to deal the data from the multiple files, or we can able to say different types of the files in the real time. Okay. Then what is the purpose of database? In real time, we are not dealing with only with the data. We are dealing with the storing. We are not dealing only with the database. We are dealing with the different types of the files also. We are dealing with the test file and all these files. All these files are going to contain the data only. Then why we are specifically discussing about the database concepts? So see here. Yeah, someone is saying story purpose, but before that, we need to understand in the real time, all these are the source files or target files.
It will be source and target both.
We can able to say all above files will act as source files and target files, but most of the times these files will act as source files. So what is going to happen? So I'm only giving the two different statements. Only one statement I'm saying that all above files will act as a source files, and also these files are going to act as a target file. I am giving the one more statement. Most of the times, if you are going to work in the real time, most of the times what will happen? These files are going to act as a source files. Okay. For example, in your project, might be you are getting the data in the CSV files. This is the source, and after that, you will convert this data into Parquet files. Just assume this is the kind of a staging area, and again, don't worry about what is meant by staging area. We'll discuss about that in the detailed way in the coming classes. At the high level, just try to understand what we are doing here. We are getting the data from the CSV file, that is the source. From the CSV file, what we are doing, we are converting the data into the Parquet files for the temporary purpose. After converting the data into the Parquet file, at the end, we are going to load the data into our database system, or we are going to load the data into our data warehouse systems, or we are going to load the data into the big table. This is nothing but one of the NoSQL database only. So again, same thing. If you don't know the database system, don't worry. If you don't know the data warehouse system, don't worry. If you don't know the big table also, don't worry. Just to try to understand the example. Okay, don't try to understand what is the big table without knowing the big table, how I can understand this entire flow only. Just to try to understand the example. With that, you can able to understand what is the importance of our database concepts or SQL queries. So what I'm telling here, in the real time, we are going to get the data in the CSV file, in the source file, and we are converting the data into the Parquet file. After converting the data into the Parquet file, in the next layer, what we are doing, we are loading the data either into the database system, or we are loading the data into data warehouse system, or we are loading the data into the big tables by using this. This is the one of the NoSQL database. Okay. Now immediately some people can able to get the question. Sir, already we are converting the data into Parquet file. Again, why we are loading the data into database system? Very simple, and the reason is, if we are going to have the data in the files format, if we are going to have data in files format, it would be difficult to perform analytics on this data. So what I'm telling here, if we are going to have the data in the files format, what will happen? It would be difficult to perform the analysis on top of your data. For example, I am giving a test file. In that test file, we are having, for example, 1 lakh records only, 1 lakh transactions or 1 lakh records data we are having. Now I'm asking you, can you please do the analysis on top of this file? Is it easy? No, right? Now, for example, if I'm given the same data in the tabular format, is it possible to do the analysis? Yes or no? I can say answer is no. Because on top of the tabular data also, you cannot able to perform the analysis properly. For example, I am giving a table to you. In that table, I'm having 1 lakh records. I am asking you in which country we are having the more cells. By seeing the data, immediately can be able to give the answer. No, right? Again, you need to write the SQL queries. You need to populate the data at the country level. You are going to get the aggregate data, but we are going to have, for example, 100 countries only. For each and every country, what will happen? You will get a record, and by seeing all those 100 records, can you be able to say which country is having the more sets directly? No, right? Which is nothing but, if you are having the data in the files format, it is very difficult to perform the analysis. First thing. Second thing, if you can able to convert the data into tabular format, it would be easy, but not very easy. Now, for example, instead of having the data in the tabular format, I am converting the data into the report format. I am converting the data into the report format. So in the report, what we can do here, we can able to create the different types of the graphs by depending on our requirement. We can create the bar graph, or we can create the pie chart, or we can create the line chart or anything. With the help of the bar graph, what will happen? It is very easy to do the analysis as an end user. So here, what operation we are going to perform at the end, Andy? We are going to perform the analytics operation. As a data engineer, your role is you need to load the data. But at the end, what will happen? Our business people or our end user are going to perform the analysis on top of the data. If they want to perform the analysis, what need to happen? They need to do the analysis in the quick way. For example, if I'm given the data in the CSV file or in the text file, it is very difficult to perform the analysis. For example, if I'm given the data in the Parquet file, then also it is very difficult to perform the analysis. Other than that, if I'm given the data in the tabular format, it is some more better. But by using the tabular data, they cannot able to perform any kind of analysis easily. That's the reason what will happen in the real time. Finally, we are going to deliver the reports only. On top of the reports, our end user can able to perform the analysis. Okay. For that reason, here I can able to say, this is the flow we can able to see in the real time. First, we are going to get the data in the test files, or I will say it as a files. That might be any file only, either text file or CSV file, as we discussed above. That might be text file or JSON file or Parquet file or any file. We are going to get the data in the files format. After that, we are converting the data into tabular format. On top of this, what we are doing? We, in the sense, our reporting team will create the reports. By using the reports, end users will perform the analysis. Okay, this is the flow at the high level. Definitely in between, we are going to have the so many layers, like the staging area, business area, auth views area. Like this, we are going to have the multiple areas today, but I don't want to cover all those things here. Just at the high level, try to understand. You are going to get the data in the files format. We are loading the data into the tables by applying the business requirements and everything. After that, what we are doing, we are going to create the report team will create the reports by using any visualization tools. On top of the reports, our end users are going to perform the analysis. Now, actually, we are having the multiple reporting tools in the market. We are having multiple reporting tools. Like earlier, we are having the Cognos, and we are having Tableau, and we are having ClickView, Power BI. So like this, we are having so many reporting tools, and like ETL tools earlier, we are having Informatica, Evolution, Data Stage. In the same way, coming to reporting tools also, we are having the different number of ETL reporting tools. But here thing is, all these reporting tools will work very efficiently when we are giving data in tabular format. So what I'm telling here, all these reporting tools can able to give the best performance, or all these reporting tools can able to give the best reports. When it can able to give the best reports or best performance, and if we are given the data in the tabular format, then only all these reporting tools can able to provide the best performance. I mean, reporting tools are completely depending on the tables. No, reporting tables can able to populate the reports from the files also. Reporting tools can able to populate the data from either Parquet file or ORC file or text file or CSV file. But here what I'm trying to say, by using the reporting tools, if you want to get the good performance, then what is the best source? I'm telling here, best source is tables, because in the table already we converted the CSV files data into the tabular format, which is nothing but in the table we are having the structured data. Once we are going to have the structured data, on top of that data, it is very easy to generate the reports by using any reporting tools. And that's the reason in the real time, whenever we are going to use the reporting tools, or whenever report team is going to use the reporting tools, they will ask the question, can you please share the data in the tabular format? Okay, and just I want to give the one more correction here. If any real-time employees are here, they will say it's not a table, it's a views. I agree, Andy. In the real time, reports are generating on top of the views, not on top of the tables. But at present, you don't know what is the view. That's the reason I don't want to touch that. But if you know about the views, you can able to think that in the real time, all the reports are generating on top of the views. If you don't know the views, just think that in the real time, all the views are going to generate on top of the tables. If you don't know the tables, ignore it. Just to understand, in the real time, all the reports are going to populate from the database system. And in the database, we are loading the data from the different types of the files. After loading the data from the database system, our reporting team will populate the reports. On top of that, our end users are going to perform the analysis. Now, immediately we'll ask the question, one question, might be you can get the one question. Sir, reporting team is doing this activity and business team is doing the analysis. Then why we are discussing all these things? What is the reason? Why we are discussing all these things? What I'm trying to
loading the data.
I am trying to explain you what is the importance of the database system as a cloud data engineer. And see here, if you are going to work in a project, in the same project we are having the cloud data engineers. In the same project we are going to have the reporting team. In the same project we are going to have the admin team. Now, as a cloud data engineer, you need to interact with all these people or not? Definitely you need to interact. Okay, now when you are going to interact with the reporting team, they are asking that, can you please send the data in the tabular format, but you don't know what is the table, then what will happen? You will get the confusion. Okay, people who are having already experience on the IT side, they know what is the table, or people who are having experience on the computer science side, might be they are aware of the what is the table. But here some people are from the non-IT background, they don't know what is the table. Without knowing that, if you are going to work in the real time, what will happen? They will get a lot of confusion. For that reason, if you are working as a cloud data engineer, compulsory we need to understand about the database concepts. Okay, and in the real time, what we are going to do here, whenever you want to populate the reports, obviously we need to load the data in the tabular format, where we are going to have all these kind of tables. And if you are going to work in the database, you can able to see the tables. Or if you are going to work in the data warehouse system, there also you can able to see the tables. Or if you are going to work in the NoSQL database also, there also you can able to see the tables. Indirectly, if you are going to work in database or data warehouse or NoSQL database in your real-time project, everywhere what we are going to see, we are going to see the tables only. And wherever we are having the tables, if you want to retrieve the data from the tables, here obviously we need to write the SQL queries. For example, you are going to work in the database in your real-time project. What we have to do? You need to write the SQL queries. You are going to work on the data warehouse system in the real time. What you need to do? You need to work on the SQL queries. Or you are going to work on the NoSQL database in the real time. What you need to do again? Again, you need to prepare the SQL queries only, which is nothing but as a cloud data engineer, most of the time we are going to spend time on writing the SQL queries. What is meant by most of the time? Complete 100% time? No, Andy. I can say 50 to 60% of the time or 40 to 50% of the time we are spending to write the SQL queries. Other than that, we are going to write the programming and Spark code and all those things. But most of the time, we are going to spend the time on top of the SQL queries as part of our real-time projects. That's the reason compulsory you should have in-depth knowledge about SQL queries. Otherwise, what will happen if you are going to work in the real time? It would be difficult to write the SQL queries. If you are going to work in the real time, what will happen is might be you need to build SQL queries from scratch. Okay, so for example, in a project, business team want to load the data into one new target table. To load the data into that new target table, they don't have any existing SQL queries. Then what you need to do here, you need to prepare the SQL queries from the scratch. Okay, don't assume that if you are going to work in the real time, we are going to have the simple queries and we are going to have the complex queries. But complex queries are nothing but it's not a very complex. In that complex query, we are going to have all the topics, whatever we are going to cover as part of our classes. Okay, in the database concepts, overall we can able to see 8 to 9 different concepts under like aggregations, union or joins, window functions. Like this, we are going to have the 9 to 10 different topics. By using these topics only, you are going to write half-page query or one-page query or 10 pages queries also. For example, if you are going to work in the real time, you are going to see the 10 pages of SQL query, but all these 10-page queries are having the whatever the 10 concepts which we are going to cover as part of our coming classes. Okay, if you are going to discuss about the joins, same joins you can able to see in the 10-page query. If you are going to discuss about the aggregations, same aggregations we can able to see it in the 10-page query. So why I'm saying it as a complex is because of the length. Whenever we are if I'm going to give the 2 lines of query, what you will feel? This is the simple query. But if I'm going to give the 10 pages of query, what will happen? You will feel that it is the very complex. But once you understand all the concepts from the database set, then that 10 pages of query also will become such very, very easy. And that's the reason compulsory you need to understand all the database concepts in the very depth level. At the same time, you need to understand some real-time scenarios, how we need to build the queries in the real time. So see here, understanding topic is one thing. After understanding, implementing the things also going to play a very important role in the real time. For example, you know the in operator, you know the subquery, you know aggregations, you know the joins, you know the concept. But whenever a person is given the requirement, you should have the analytical skills. Okay, what is the requirement? Understand the requirement, how to implement the requirement. To implement this requirement, what is the database concept I need to apply, which is nothing but if you want to prepare the query, other than concepts, you should have knowledge about the analytical skills also. And in the combination of these 2 things only, you can able to prepare the queries. Okay, now you tell me how to get the analytical skills. I'm telling that you should have knowledge on database concepts and also the analytical skills. But how we can able to get the knowledge and analytical skills? By doing the practice. What about database concepts? In class, I will cover all the database concepts from basic level to till advanced level. With that, you can able to get the perfect knowledge on the database concepts. At the same time, in the class, we'll see some real-time examples. At the same time, I will provide some kind of assignments. And by using all these things, what you can do here, you can able to build any kind of SQL queries as part of our real-time projects. Okay, this is one type of scenario. And second type of scenario is might be you need to change existing SQL queries based on this requirement. See, already we are having the SQL queries in that project. Now, business is giving some requirement for this column. I want to change the logic, or into this table, I want to add 2 new columns. So this is the way some kind of requirements will come in the real time. And already we are having the table. Already we are loading the data into the table. In that table, what is the requirement? I want to add the extra columns, or I want to do the changes on the transformation logic of a particular column. In the situation, might be you are going to have the existing SQL query. On top of that query, what we need to do here? We need to perform the changes by depending on the business requirement. Here, what is required again? You are working on the new query or existing query? We are working on the existing query, which is nothing but first what we need to understand. First, we need to understand how that existing query is working. And without understanding how that existing query is working, you cannot able to do any kind of changes. For that reason, first we need to understand how that existing SQL query is working. After that, you need to implement the requirement as per our business logic. But to perform this activity also, again, what is required? You should have in-depth knowledge on the SQL queries. You should have in-depth knowledge on the database concepts. By considering all these things only, we are going to cover database concepts in detail as part of our classes. Is it clear? And one more thing, just I want to touch one more topic here. See, these all are the topics we are going to cover as part of our coming sessions. And in the GCP set, we are going to cover a topic called as a Cloud SQL. This is the one of the service in the GCP. Any guesses what type of service it is? Old batch? What type of service it is? Is it a data warehouse service or database service or analytics service? What it is? This is the one of the database service we are having in the GCP. New batch people will discuss about this topic separately in the coming days only. But this is the one of the service we are having in the GCP. In this service, we are going to create the tables and we are going to write the SQL queries. In the same way, if you see the Cloud BigQuery, in the name only what we are having. In the name itself, we are having the query. This is the one of the data warehouse service which we are having in the GCP. In this also, we are going to create the tables. We are going to prepare the SQL queries. In the same way, if you see the Cloud Data Proc, in the Cloud Data Proc, we are going to deal with the Hadoop and Spark. In the Spark also, we need to write the Spark programming. At the same time, we need to use the Spark SQL. So Spark SQL also going to play very important role as part of real time. Once you are having knowledge on the SQL, you tell me learning Spark SQL is difficult or easy? It is easy because already, for example, if you have knowledge on the SQL queries or database concepts, understanding Spark SQL will not take much amount of time. That's the reason for this one also we need to have knowledge on the database concepts. In the same way, if you see the Cloud Big Table, this is the one of the NoSQL database which we are using in the GCP. In this also, we need to create the tables and we need to write the SQL queries. If you observe, out of 10 services, how many services are depending on the SQL queries indirectly? Out of 10, 4 to 5 services are indirectly depending on the SQL queries. That's the reason once you are going to have the good knowledge on the database concepts, automatically what will happen? Learning the course will become as very, very easy, and clearing the interviews also will become very, very easy. At the same time, survival in the real time also will become as a very, very easy. That's the reason we are discussing about our database concepts. Is it clear? In the same way, if you see here in the big data system, what we are having? Spark SQL and so in this one, so as part of Spark SQL, again, we are going to write the SQL queries only. In the same way, when we are going to discuss about the Databricks also, in the Databricks also, we are going to deal with the database system. And when we are going to work on all these integrations, in these integrations also, we are going to work on the database system. And where we will do all these kind of integrations? In class, we'll do. After the class, you will do the practice as part of your practical sessions. At the same time, if you are going to work in the real time also, what activities we are going to perform? We are going to perform all these kind of integration activities. And if you want to perform the integration activities in the real time, again, what kind of skills are required? Database concepts. Okay. Now you tell me overall, if you want to become the cloud data engineer, what skills are required? Only database concepts? Is the correct statement? No. I am telling that database concepts is the one of the important role it is going to play to become the cloud data engineer. Don't assume that in this course we are going to cover the only database concepts. We are not going to cover any other things. We will cover everything. But what is the session now? Database concepts. That's the reason I am trying to explain you how it is going to play the very important role if you are going to work as a cloud data engineer in our real-time projects. Is it clear? Any questions so far? Up to here. Okay, if no questions, now we'll start discussing about the database concepts. So any idea what is a database from your side based on your understanding? So forget about all the above things, because all above things are not related to the subject. All above things are related to why we are running the database concepts as part of our classes. Okay, just now we'll start discussing about our database concepts. So first one, what is a database? Any guesses from your side?
It's a storage to store the data.
It's a storage to store the data. Okay. Any other answers?
The database is nothing but it's not only for storage, for analyzing and retrieving the data also we use the database.
For storage and analyzing and retrieving the data, we are using it. Okay.
Actually, to store the structural data information.
Someone is saying that for storing structural data. Okay, any other answers? Okay, see, all these are correct answers only, Andy. But generally, whenever anyone is going to ask the question database, simply we can able to say database is nothing but collection of different database objects. So database is nothing but collection of different database objects which we are using for the purpose of storing and maintaining the data. So in the simple words, we can able to give this statement only. What is the database? Database is nothing but collection of different database objects. Database is nothing but collection of different database objects. And why we are maintaining all these database objects here? For the purpose of storing the data and for the purpose of maintaining the data, we are using all these different database objects. Immediately people can able to get the question. So what is meant by database object?
Tables.
What it is? See here, I am giving the definition. Database is nothing but collection of different database objects. And why we are using all these database objects only? For the purpose of storing the data and for the purpose of maintaining the data, we are using all these different database objects, which is nothing but in the database indirectly what we are doing? We are storing the data. So someone mentioned that we are going to store the data, which is covering automatically as part of the statement. We are storing the data, and also what we are doing? We are maintaining the data, which is nothing but on top of this data, you can able to perform the update operations or delete operations or analysis operations, any kind of operations, which is nothing but this point also indirectly we are covering as part of my statement. In the database, we are going to store the data. I will agree. In the database, we are going to maintain the data. That also we are going to agree. But here what I'm saying, database is nothing but collection of different database objects. What is meant by database object here? Very simple, and actually in the database side, we are going to have the different types of database objects, which are nothing but tables, views, triggers, stored procedures. So like this, we are going to have the different types of stored database objects as part of our database system. We are going to have only the tables. Earlier I told you that, so we are going to have the data in the tabular format, or we are going to have the data in the views also. And where we are going to have the tables and views? In the same database system only, we are going to maintain the tables and we are going to maintain the views. We are going to maintain the triggers and we are going to maintain the stored procedures only. But what is the purpose of all these database objects? What is the purpose? What I told you about different database objects. Why we are using this? Which we are using for the purpose of storing and maintaining the data. So if anyone is going to ask you in the database what we are going to maintain, don't give the answer data. And in the database what we are going to maintain, we are going to maintain the database objects. Which database objects? Tables, views, triggers, and stored procedures. Now based on your understanding, you try to give the answer. Out of all these four objects, in which object we are going to maintain the data? In all the objects or in the only particular object we are going to maintain the data?
Only tables.
See here, only in the tables we are going to maintain the data, or we are going to store the data. Okay. See here, I am telling that we are maintaining all the database objects for the purpose of storing and maintaining the data. By seeing the statement, don't assume that tables storing the data, views storing the data, triggers storing the data, and out of all these four objects, only tables are going to store the data. Now, whomever is having experience on database side or whomever is having some kind of prior experience in the IT side, and they will get the question. Sir, in the views also we are going to store the data. Is it the correct statement? No. In the view, we are not going to store the data. It's a kind of a virtual table. Okay, if anyone know about the views, try to understand the statement. If you don't know about the views, forget about the views for now only. Just to try to understand the concept. What are the different database objects we are having in the database set? Tables, views, triggers, and stored procedures. And what is the purpose of all these database objects? For the purpose of storing the data and to maintain the data in the database system. We are maintaining all these database objects as part of our database system. Is it clear? Now we'll try to understand. What is a table? Any guesses?
Table
Which consists of columns and rows.
So we can able to say table is nothing but
table
collection of
columns and
rows and
columns.
So in the simple words, we can able to say, see, if you go to the Google, you can able to see the definitions, but don't depend on the definitions, because in the interviews, whether anyone is going to ask the question, what is a table? No, right? We are understanding or we are learning. Okay, that's the reason. As part of learning, try to learn everything with the simple words. For example, if you are going to discuss about the BigQuery, in the interviews, they will ask so many questions on the big query concepts. At that point of time, we can able to focus on the definitions, or we can able to focus on the big statements only. But when we are discussing about the basic things, we'll focus on the basic statements. So in the simple words, what we can able to say, what is a table? Table is nothing but collection of rows and columns. Now immediately people will get the question, sir, what is a row? What is a column? What is a row?
Row is record.
Record.
Where the actual data is stored.
Someone is saying row is a record. Then what is a record?
Record contains
Actual information.
actual information.
It contains actual information. Okay, someone is saying that row is a record which contains the actual information. Any other answers? See, when we are saying that in the table we are going to store the data, obviously what will happen? In the table we are having the actual information. Then what is the special definition of the row? So we can able to say row is nothing but
Collection of columns.
this is instance of a object. So in the simple words, we can able to say row is nothing but it's a instance of an object. Again, we'll get the question, what is the object? We can able to say here simply
Object is table.
object is kind of
Instance of
a real time So I'm saying that simply object is nothing but what? Object is kind of nothing but it's a kind of a real-time system or real-time value only. Now, for example, if I'm giving a person, tell me is it a real-time object or not? Person, or if I'm given the customer, or if I'm given the employee information. So employee is nothing but it's a kind of a real-time object. Person is nothing but it's a real-time object. Customer is nothing but a real-time object. Okay, online people, whomever not talking, can you please go on mute? Okay, so here simply we can able to say row is nothing but this is the instance of your object. But comment here, what is the meaning of the object? Object can be a person, object can be a customer, object can be the employee, object can be the product, or object can be the transaction, anything. And so we can able to say simply object is nothing but it's a kind of a real-time value, which is nothing but that can be a person or customer or employee or product or transaction. All these things we can able to call it as nothing but objects. But here what I'm telling, this is the instance of your object. What is meant by instance here? Now see, for example, in my company, just 1 second. In my company, for example, 100 employees are working. Now, what we can able to say, every employee is nothing but it's a kind of a object only. So he is a person only, but in the database, what we can able to think, every employee is nothing but one object. In my company now, how many employees are working? 100 employees are working. Now, in that company, what we need to do here? We need to maintain all these 100 employees information, which is nothing but here we need to maintain employee ID 1 information, like employee ID is nothing but 1. And his name is, for example, Srinivas, and he is staying in Hyderabad, and he is working in the HR department. So like this, what I'm doing here, I am maintaining instance of a object. Now, what is the meaning of instance? If we are dealing with particular object information, which is nothing but here in this example, we are dealing with a particular employee information. So this kind of employee information only we can able to call it as a row. Row is nothing but instance of a object. In this example, what is the object? Employee. What is the instance? Whatever the single record we are maintaining for employee ID 1, that we can able to call it as a instance. And a row is nothing but instance of a object. That object can be anything as part of our real-time system. That might be the customers, that might be the products, that might be the transactions or anything. Here what we are doing, we are maintaining the instance of a object. That instance only we can able to call it as a rows. Now tell me, in a table, we are going to maintain the single instance or we are going to maintain the so many instances? We are going to maintain the so many instances. And now tell me, in this example, how many instances we are going to maintain? How many employees are there? 100 employees. So obviously what we need to do here, every employee is a one object. For every object, we are going to maintain the one instance. So for example, here, okay. Now see here what I'm doing indirectly in this Excel sheet. Just I'm showing the some data. In this data, what we are having the employees information, which is nothing but in my table, I'm going to store the object related information. But in every row, what we are doing in the first row or in the first instance, we are discussing about the only one employee, or we are discussing about the multiple employees. We are discussing about the only single employee, and that only we are calling it as a instance. So which is nothing but row is nothing but instance of a object. In this example, this row is representing employee of the one. Second row is representing second employee data. Third row is representing third employee data. Like that, what we are doing here, we are maintaining the instance of object in a table. All these instances only we can able to call it as nothing but rows. Now indirectly in this table, how many number of instances we are having? 5. Or how many number of rows we are having? 5. How many number of employees we are having? 5. Overall, here simply we need to understand row is nothing but it's the instance of a object. Now try to understand what is meant by column. Any guesses?
One cell. Sorry.
Is header.
One cell. Someone is saying header. Any other answers? One cell, header. Any other things? Attributes. Okay, then what is meant by attribute? Someone is saying attribute. Column is nothing but attribute, but what is meant by attribute? Features. Okay.
Yeah, it will tell about the value of that row.
Yes, correct. So we can able to say columns are nothing but it's the characteristics or features of the object. So what I'm telling here, so columns are nothing but attributes, or columns are nothing but features only, but generally what we can able to say, columns are nothing but it's the characteristics or features of your object. Here in this example, which object we are discussing? We are discussing about the employee object. Generally for employees, what kind of characteristics we can able to see? Every employee will contain what? Employee ID. Or for example, see here, if I'm not giving any kind of characteristics information, if I'm giving only this data to you, by using this data, can you able to understand what is meaning of this data? Is it the customer ID? We don't know. Is it the student ID? I don't know. Or is it the kind of a employee ID? I don't know, which is nothing but if I'm giving the only rows information, you cannot able to understand what is the meaning of this data, which is nothing but to understand the rows or to understand the data in the table, compulsory what we have to define, we need to define the columns, and those columns only what we are calling here, columns are nothing but characteristics of the object. Here we can able to add one more statement. To know the meaning of the rows, we need to define the columns. So without defining the columns, we cannot able to understand the meaning of the rows. That's the reason compulsory what we have to do here. To know the meaning of the rows, we need to define the columns. Then what is meant by column here? Columns are nothing but these are the characteristics or features of a object. Now in this example, we are discussing about the employee table. Now generally for an employee, what kind of characteristics we can able to see? You can able to see employee ID is the one of the characteristic, and employee name and location and department name. So like this, we can able to see the some of the characteristics on top of the employee ID. Now some people can able to get the question, sir, why we are discussing about the employee table here instead of real-time example? What's the reason? Definitely we'll cover about the real-time example, because here we need to understand the example in parallel. We need to understand the concept also. And now, for example, if I'm going to directly discuss about the real-time example, for example, here I will say underwriter ID. And I will say, for example, underwriter name. So by considering some people requirement, directly I'm going to start discussing about the real-time example. Now, if I'm going to say in this table, we are going to maintain the underwriter information. We are going to maintain the underwriter ID. We are going to maintain the underwriter name. What is the underwriter? Did everyone know about that? No, right? Generally, if you are going to work in the insurance sector, we are having a person called as a underwriter for the purpose of analyzing your how much premium we need to take from the customer. Such kind of people we can able to call it as a underwriter. Now you tell me, if I am directly going to start discussing about this example, what will happen? You cannot able to understand what is table, what is row, what is column. You cannot able to understand those topics. At the same time, you cannot able to understand this topic also if I am going to directly discussing about the real-time example. That's the reason when we are discussing about the concepts, first we'll try to understand basic examples. Once you understand the concept, then what we can do here, then we can able to jump on the real-time examples. And generally, this is the student mentality. Whenever we are going to start discussing about employee table and department table, immediately they will think that Sir is covering very basic example. He is not covering the real-time example. When we are going to discuss about the real-time examples, what people will feel? Sir is covering all high-level topics. He is not concentrating on the low-level people. So this is the way you yourself will change your mindset, Andy. But this is my process. First, we will discuss about each and every concept with the basic examples. Once you understand the basic example, then automatically we are going to cover the real-time examples with the real-time scenario. With that, you can get the good knowledge on the concepts. At the same time, you can able to get the good knowledge on the real-time scenarios. Okay. Overall, here, what we are doing, what is the purpose of the columns? To understand the meaning of the rows, we need to maintain the columns, and we can able to say columns are nothing but it's the characteristics of the table. This is the way simply we can able to say what is a row and what is a column. Now tell me where we are having the rows and columns. In a table. What is meant by table? Table is nothing but collection of rows and collection of columns. Simply we can able to say table is nothing but collection of rows and columns. And then what is meant by collection of tables? Collection of rows and columns, we are calling it as a table. What is meant by collection of the tables? Collection of tables is nothing but database. But tell me, in the database, are we going to have only the tables? What we are going to have? We will have the tables, views, procedures, and triggers. For now, we are discussing about the tables. For that reason, we are focusing only on the tables. Okay. But in the coming days, we will discuss about the views also, Nandi. But collection of the tables, we can able to call it as a database. In the database, other than the tables, we are going to have the views, triggers, and stored procedures. Collection of all these objects only, we can able to call it as a database in our real-time system. Okay. Up to here, any questions or confusions, please ask me. See, as a cloud data engineer, we are not going to use any kind of stored procedures. We are not going to use any triggers and so actually, if any person is working on the other database system, might be they will use. But as a cloud data engineer, we are not going to work on the triggers. We are not going to work on the stored procedure. But better to have the basic understanding. What is a trigger? What is a stored procedure? And what is the purpose of these two things? Just to have a basic knowledge, because in the interview, suddenly if they're asking the question, what is a trigger? We should be in the position to give the answer, what is the trigger? If he's asking any more questions, then we can able to say, I didn't get the chance to work on the triggers as part of my project. But in general, as a cloud data engineer, we are not going to work on the triggers. We are not going to work on the stored procedures. As a cloud data engineer, most of the times we are going to focus on the tables or views only in our real-time projects. Is it clear? Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Now see here. So far we discussed about what is a database, what is a table, and what is a column. Now tell me, in real time, who is going to create these tables? In real time, who is going to create all these tables? So here in the Excel sheet, what I'm doing, just I'm giving the column names by typing, and I'm entering all the data by typing only. But in the real time, what we need to do here, we need to create the table. After creating the table, in this table, we need to load all this data. But before going to the loading operation, first we'll try to understand in the real time projects, who is going to create the tables? So we can able to say there are multiple answers. And the first one we can able to say DBS will create the tables in general. Second one we can able to say as a cloud data engineer, we are also going to create the tables in the real-time system. Okay. In some projects, DBS are going to have the control to create the tables. In some projects, as a cloud data engineer, you are having the provision to create the tables. And now here, do we need to learn about the DBA concepts again? It's not required. Just I'm telling you, in the real time, in some of the projects, DBS will create the tables. In most of the projects, what I'm telling here, as a cloud data engineer, you need to create the tables as part of our real-time system. Now, based on all these things, you try to give the answer. If you want to create the table, what kind of inputs we need to get?
Schema.
For example, you are the cloud data engineer. What I'm telling here, if you are going to work in the real time, you need to create the tables in the database system in the real-time project. Now, if I want to create the tables in the real-time database system in the real-time project, what all are the inputs we need to get? Someone says schema. Okay. Any other answers? What is the schema?
The structure of the table.
Structure.
Structure.
What is structure?
What type of value? What of
So-
values we are having characteristics?
Like what is the column name and
So see here.
what
if
should be
you
the
want to-
data type to that column and the length?
Yeah, correct.
It just
So if you
tells
want
us
to,
the data type.
And
if
what
you want
type
to
of
create the
constraint
table,
you are using
first we
for
need to
that?
understand the
And
schema of the
block.
table, and we need to understand the structure of the table at the same time here. So see here, schema and structure both are same only, Andy. But in the schema and structure, what we are going to maintain? First thing, compulsory, you need to know table name. You tell me, if you are going to work in the real time, are we going to create the employee table? No, right? Are we going to create the department table? No. Are we going to create the customer table? No. By depending on the type of the domain which you are going to work, your table names would be different. That's the reason whenever you want to create the table, first what we need to understand, we need to understand what is the table name we need to give for that table. That is the first thing. Second thing, we need to understand what all are the column names. This is the second thing we need to understand. In the table, what all are the column names we need to maintain. For example, if you are going to perform the practice after completion of the class, you yourself can able to create the employee table. In the employee table, what columns we can able to give? You know, employee ID, employee name, salary, department, because I think from last 2-3 years onwards, you are doing some kind of practice on the database side occasionally. So based on that, you can able to say, I will create the employee ID and employee name, salary, and department ID. You know that. But if you are going to work in the real-time project, if you are going to create the real-time table, can I able to guess what is the column name we need to give in the table? You cannot able to guess it, Andy. That's the reason in the real-time projects, if you want to create the tables, compulsory what we need to get, you need to get the table name and also you need to get the column names. Other than these two, we need to get data types of the columns and we need to get data type, length of the columns, and we need to get constraints of the table.
Project behind the field.
So these are all the things we need to get. We need to get the table names and we need to get the column names and we need to get the data types of the column and we need to get the data type length of the column and we need to get the constraints of the table. And all these are the things we need to get. We'll discuss about all these things in the coming classes. At the high level, try to understand what are the inputs we need to get if you want to create the table. Table name, column name, data types of the columns, data type length of the columns, and constraints of the table. All these are the inputs we need to get if you want to create the table. Now question is, from where we will get all above details?
Business team.
From where we are going to get all above details?
Business team.
Somebody is saying business team. Okay. Any other answers?
From the document, PAD document.
DI sheet.
DI sheet. Okay. I don't know about the DI sheet. So far we haven't discussed about the DI sheet.
Sir,
Any other
it's
answers?
in form of storyline.
Form of story. Okay. Any other answers? Okay. So see here. So from the
Yeah.
real-time perspective here, we are going to get all these above information in a document called as nothing but physical data model document. See from where we can able to get all the above details, and we are going to get a document called as a physical data model document, or we can call it as a PDF document. And generally this document is in the PDF format. Again, this is the one of the interview question. In the interviews, they will ask the question: if you want to create the table, what all are the inputs you need to get? Or if you want to create the table and if you want to load the data into the table, what all are the inputs we need to get? So we need to say, first one, if you want to create the table, what is the document we need to get? We need to get the document called as a physical data model document, which is nothing but the PDF document. And after that, if you want to load the data into the table, then we need to get the document called as a DAS document, which is nothing but your data ingestion sheet, or we can call it as a mapping document, or we can able to call it as a transformation rule document.
Sir, what is the difference between BRD and PDM?
Yeah, I will tell you that. So here in the, so someone is asking the question like this, Andy, what is the difference between BRS and PDM? So I will park this question for a few minutes. We'll discuss about this. But before that, just try to understand here. So in the real time, if you want to create the table, what you need to get? You need to get the physical data model document, which we are calling it as nothing but PDM document. And in which format we are going to get? We are going to get it in the PDF format. Okay. Now, if you want to load the data, then we need to get the document called as a DIS sheet, which is nothing but your data ingestion sheet, or we can call it as a mapping document, or we can call it as a transformation rule document. But tell me, now we are discussing about the creation of the table or loading the data into the table. What we are discussing? We are discussing about the creation. For the reason, just to focus on the only PDM and don't think about what is the DIS, what is the mapping, what is the transformation. Forget about this. For now, just to focus on the PDM document. What is meant by PDM? Physical data model document. What is the purpose of this document? In this document only you can able to see the table names, column names, data type length, and constraints of the table. All this information we are going to see in a document called as a PDF document. Now question is, who will give this document in the real time? So someone is saying data analyst. Okay, someone is saying business analyst. Someone is saying data modeler. Someone is saying DBA. Okay, what's the correct answer? I know you people don't have an answer for this. Just I'm trying to wake up you because some people are sleeping. When I'm asking these kind of questions, what will happen? Suddenly they will wake up. That's the reason only I'm asking these questions. Don't worry about this. If you are not given answers also, I won't scold anyone on day. Why we are asking the question? To be interactive. If you are going to interactive, automatically what will happen? You won't get the sleepy feeling. So first day, all these are theoretical Sunday. Tomorrow onwards, might be we'll start with the practicals. Then you can get some kind of interest. But before jumping to the practicals, we need to understand all these things. Okay. If you see here, till now we discuss about all the basics. What is a table? What is a database? What is a row? What is a column? Now see what we're discussing now slowly. We are discussing about some real-time thing. In the real time, if you want to create the table, what we need to get? PDM document. So far, as per my knowledge, you didn't heard about the PDM document, which is nothing but this is the one new topic. We'll discuss about the basic topics. At the same time, we will discuss about the advanced topics. It's a mix of all the things. And that's the reason. Please try to understand each and everything. So finally here, who is going to provide the PDM document in the real time? So we can able to say our data modelers will give this document in the real-time projects. Our data modelers are going to provide the PDM document as part of our real-time projects. Based on the PDM document, we are going to create the tables in our database system. Okay, but tell me, what all are the prerequisites to create PDM document as a data modeler? Are we going to work as a data modeler? No. Then why we need to worry about this? You need to worry and you need to know about this also. That's the reason we are discussing. So what are the prerequisites to create the PDM document as a data modeler? What you need to understand? You need to understand. You need to understand business requirements. Right? Without knowing the business requirement, you don't know what is the table name you need to give or what are the characteristics of the columns you need to give it. And that's the reason, as a data modeler, if you want to create the PDM document, first what you need to understand, you need to understand about the business requirements. Once understanding the business requirement, then only what he can do here, with the help of that understanding, he will create a document called as a PDM document. Now, if you observe here, I'm saying that we need to understand the business requirement. Now, question is, from where we can able to get the business requirements?
In the BRD.
Analysts or from client.
Someone is saying that BRD. Someone is saying that client. Any other answers? Someone can able to say BA, business analyst. Someone can able to say the DA, data analyst. But what's the correct answer? See, in the interviews, if anyone is asking from where we'll get the business requirements, don't give the answer as a client and because client only will give everything, right? PDM documents or any other documents also, everything will be given by the client only. Don't give the client. That is a kind of a wrong answer. We can able to say in the real time we are going to get all the business requirements in BRD document. What is meant by BRD?
Business
I can able to
requirement.
say BRS document. Sorry, it's my mistake. Business requirement specification document. So in this document, we are going to get all the requirements of the project. Now, as a data modeler, what is the prerequisite document to him? He need to get the document called as a BRS document. In the BRS document, he can able to see all the business requirements specification from the business team or from the client team only. But who is going to prepare this BRS document in the real time? Who will create BRS document?
Business analyst.
BA.
Here we can able to say
Business
BA,
analyst.
in some projects we can able to say BA and DS also. And in some projects, only BS are going to prepare the BRS document. In some projects, BAs and DS are going to have the collaborative meetings. With that, they will come up with a document called as a BRS document. BA is nothing but business analyst.
Analyst.
And what is meant by DA? It's nothing but
Data.
data analyst. See, if anyone don't know what is the BA and what is the DA, don't worry. And that's the reason only we are discussing about all these topics. I know some of the people don't know about the BA, some of the people don't know about the DA. That's the reason only we are discussing about all these topics as part of our session. Okay. Now, in the real time, who is going to provide the BRS document? Our BAs. In some projects, either BA and DA together, they are going to provide the document called as a BRS document. Now, with this, try to give the answer for this. What is the difference between BRS and PDF? In the BRS document, what we are going to get? Business requirements. In this document, can we be able to see the table name, column names, and all this information? No. But where we can able to see all this information? In the PDF document, we can able to see all the information. So, which is nothing but slowly, one by one, we'll try to understand. With that, automatically, these kind of questions also you can able to get the clarifications. And in the BRS document, we are going to maintain the business requirements. In the PDF document, what we are going to maintain? We are going to maintain the structure of the tables, which is nothing but table name, column name, data type, length, all this information we are going to maintain in the PDF document. Okay. Now, just we'll come back to our main question. If you want to create the tables in the real time, who is going to create the tables in the real time? DBAs, database analyst, or we can able to say as a cloud data engineer, we are going to create the tables. And now, if you want to create the tables in the real time, what is the input document we need to get? We need to get the document called as a PDF document. And in which format we are going to get the PDF document? In the PDF format. Who is going to provide this PDF document in the real time? Data modeler. What is the prerequisite to the data modeler to give this document? He need to understand the business requirement. Who will give the business requirements in the real time? BA and DS. And in which format they are going to give that information? In the BRS document. Any guesses in which format we are going to have this BRS document? Is a PDF or Word document?
Document with algorithms.
Say Word document. In some projects, there are the chances you can able to see it in the PDF format also. But in the interviews, cleverly don't give the answer, a Word and PDF. You need to specify, in my project, I am getting all the requirements in the Word document. Or in the project, I am getting all the requirements in the PDF format. Don't say sometimes Word, sometimes PDF, something. Don't give answer like that. Either you have to give, we are getting it in the Word document, or you are getting it in the PDF document. Okay. Up to here, any questions, please ask me. Up to here. Is it clear? Shall we see one PDF document? Is it visible to online people, offline people? Is it visible? One second, I will zoom it. Hope it is visible now, right? See here what we are having. Here you can able to see the table name. Survey underscore fact is nothing but one of the table name. And in this table, what we are having? All these are the column names. Survey fact ID, current pro indicator, date dim ID, survey CFC ID. All these are nothing but the column names. And after that, we can able to see the data type, integer, char, and all these are nothing but our data types. And here we are having the FK. What is meant by FK? Foreign key. If you don't know about the foreign key and primary key, don't worry. We'll discuss about those things also as part of our classes. But here our intention is to understand not the what is the primary key, what is the foreign key. That is not our intention. What is our intention? This is the PDF document. In this PDF document, what we are getting? We are getting the table names, column names, data type length. This primary key and foreign key only we can able to call it as a constants. And all this information we are getting it in the PDF document. Now you tell me, in the PDF document we are getting only one table name, or we are getting all the table names of the project? You will get all the table names of the project. If you see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So below also we are having some other tables. And like this, we are going to get all the table names, whatever you are using in the project. You can able to see all those tables information in a document called as nothing but PDF document. Now, for example, after 1 month or 45 days, you got the job. You are entering into one real-time company. You are going to work as a cloud data engineer. Now, to your team lead or to your manager, what is the first question we need to ask? You want to understand the project. If you want to understand the project, what is the first question we need to ask? Any guesses?
BRD.
BRD, okay, business requirement document to understand the business. But I want to understand the flow in the project. How data is flowing.
So data
Where-
model.
In
Where
the
we are having the data, we are having all the data in the tables only, which is nothing but first you need to understand what all are the different tables we are having in the project. In between all these tables, what is the relationship we are having, from where we can able to get all this information by using the document called as a PDM document. So simply, as part of your meetings, in the Scrum meetings or any other meetings, you can raise the question, can you please share the PDM document? What we are showing indirectly? We are not doing our action, what we are doing? We are showing our real-time experience. Okay, then the team lead can able to understand, okay, this person is having some knowledge on the PDM. Sometimes those people also not aware of the PDM, might be they are calling it with the different names only. So, but you can raise the question, can you please share the PDM document to understand the project? Can you please share the PDM document to understand what is the relationship between the tables? Or can you please share the PDM document to understand data flow in the project? So if you are going to raise this kind of questions, automatically what will happen? They can feel that you are a kind of a real-time employee. And that's the reason, if you want to raise the question, first what you need to understand? You need to understand what is meant by PDM. For example, cleverly you raise the question, can you please share the PDM document? They are asking the reverse question, what is the PDM? You are unable to give the answer. Then what will happen? You are not given the answer for what is the PDM. Then what will happen? It is the kind of a reverse strategy. And so you are the clever people. Those team leads are very clever people. What about managers? They are very, very clever people. Okay. So don't play the games with them. Play the normal games. Don't play the aggressive games. And so just ask the PDM document. But if you want to ask the PDM document, first you should have some basic knowledge about what is the PDM document and what is the kind of information we are having in the document. So this is the way. This is the one of the PDM document. In coming days, we'll show some other documents also. But by using this document, finally, what we are going to do? By using this document, finally, what we are going to do? We are going to complete the class. No, right? We are going to create the tables in the real-time projects and with the help of the PDM document in the real-time projects, we are going to create the tables. Is it clear? Any questions? See, hope you understood my style of the teaching. And first we'll go with the basic concepts, then we'll go with the advanced concepts, then we'll go with the real-time. Don't assume, don't expect we'll mix everything together. If you are going to mix everything together, what will happen? Automatically we'll get a lot of confusion. Later, what you will do? You will give the complaint. New faculty also not teaching properly. Okay, so don't give that kind of complaint. So what we are doing here, we are trying to understand from the scratch level to till advanced level. All these are the basics. If you understand all these things, then in the next class, what we can do here, with the help of these documents or with the help of this understanding, we are going to create the tables in our database session. Okay, before winding up the class, any questions, please ask me.
Sir, we will be having one more document called TDD.
That is the technical design document. But if you want to create the tables, no, there is no dependency on the technical design document. Somebody is asking about the TDD document, which is nothing but technical design document. But tell me here, as part of today's session, are we discussing anything about which documents we are getting in the real-time project? Is it our topic? No, right? But in the coming classes, we are going to have separate session for what all are the documents we need to get in the real time if you want to work. Today, what we are discussing, to create the table, what is the input document we need to get? That's the reason we are discussing about the PDM. But in the coming classes, we are going to discuss about if you are going to work as a data engineer, cloud data engineer, what all are the input documents we need to get it ready. You need to get the BRS document, you need to get the TDD document, you need to get the PDM document. At that point of time, we are going to discuss about what is the TDD, what is the FRS, all these things we are going to cover in those sessions. Today, please focus only on the PDM document. Is it clear, online people? Okay. Any other questions? It's clear, right? Okay. See here, actually, still we need to discuss about some more topics Sunday. Like what are different types of commands we are having in database set. So like this, we need to cover some other topics. And after that, once you understand all these things, then we can able to start with the practicals. And if you want to start with the practicals, you need to install MySQL in your laptops. Okay, so please bring the laptops. If you are already having the laptops, well and good. If you don't have the laptops only, please bring the laptops to the tomorrow session. Tomorrow we are going to discuss about installation.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Other people, is it breaking for everyone or only for one person?
It is fine.
Yeah, please reconnect. So disconnect and connect again. You can able to listen my voice properly. Okay, so we need to do the installation here. So with that, we need to do the installations. I will explain all the steps as part of installation. With that, what will happen? You can able to install the MySQLs. After installing the MySQL, on top of that, we can able to start the practice. Then you can able to get the perfect knowledge about each and every topic. Okay, and one thing, I will share one document to you. If possible, I'm telling that I'm not asking gets compulsory only. If possible, go through the document and do installation your. Okay, what's the reason is tomorrow, if all the people are going to start the installation in the class, okay, so we need to download some files and as part of installation also it will connect to the internet. So our Wi-Fi won't support all the people at a time. That's the reason I will share one document. If you can able to understand the document, by using the document, try to perform the installation. I will give all the steps with the screenshots also. I will give all the steps and try to understand the document. With that understanding, try to install the MySQL into your system. If you cannot able to understand, or if you are stuck in it anywhere, you can stop it. In the tomorrow class, we are going to discuss that in the very detailed way. Okay, just I will show you the document quickly and we can able to wrap up the class.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, could you please share these text files you are using text planners in the drive? That would be helpful for us for reference.
Yeah, we will share it. And I think morning file also they shared in the Telegram group. That's the reason morning I told you, Andy. So please take the Telegram group link from the admin team, or please give the mail ID to the admin team. They will share all these things. After completion of the class, immediately I will share all these notepads to the admin team. They will share the information to each and everyone.
Okay, sir. Yeah, fine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, hope everyone can able to visualize offline people. Okay. Now see here I given the each and every step with the screenshots also only. Here you can able to see open the browser. So we need to open the browser. You need to give the URL, and after that you need to click on the installer, which is having the small size. It's a plain English only. It's not a requirement document. It's not a kind of a Australia English or US English only. It's a plain English words. If you understand, well and good. Please continue with the installation. If any non-IT people, if you cannot able to understand what you need to do, no need to worry. In the tomorrow class, in detail, we'll discuss about this information. Why I'm giving this task to you? To skip about discussion of all these things? No, I will cover all these things. Why I'm giving this task to you is, if all the people are going to start the installation in the class by using the single Wi-Fi, what will happen? It will take a lot of time for completion of the installation. Just to save the time, I'm giving this task to the people only. So I will share this document to you. Please go through all the steps. In every step, you can able to see the screenshot, and you can able to see the tick marks, and you can able to see the steps in the proper way. And with this, automatically you can able to install everything with your own hands. If you are facing any kind of issues, anyhow, in the tomorrow class, first half an hour or 20 minutes, we'll discuss about all these things. With that, we can able to start with our practicals. Is it clear? Okay. And where you will get this document? In the Telegram group or to your mail ID. For that reason, please take the Telegram group from the admin team first thing, or please share your mail IDs to the admin team. With that, you can able to get all this information. Just I will show you one more thing, Andy. One last thing. See here, this is the batch name. Here you can able to see all the notes. So demo 1, demo 2, and you can able to see the every day whatever the things I'm typing in my notepad. I am saving everything. I am sharing it to the admin team. Admin team will share this information to you. Actually, they are also suggesting to put everything in the Google Drive only. We are working on that. But for now, you will get everything through the Telegram group, or you will get everything through the mails. Once I am going to set up the Google Drive, I will let you know. Then you can able to pick all the information from the Google Drive also if you want. Is it clear? Okay. Okay, then what is the task? What is the next task? I will share this document. Please do the installation from your side. That is one thing. And one last thing I want to add. So today, afternoon 2:30, we don't have the class Sunday. So I think already people are getting bored. So today, first day, we'll go with the only 2 classes. Slowly we'll start the 2 classes. I can understand your internal feelings. Okay, so today 2:30 we don't have any class. We'll meet tomorrow morning at 8:30. Okay. Okay, thank you. Online people.
Tomorrow also same timings as today, sir.
Yeah, so tomorrow also same timings. Sunday morning at 8:30 we are going to have the class, and again at 11:45 we are going to have the class. Afternoon class I will give the confirmation to you whether we are going to have it or not.
Sir, what about recording, sir? It is available in Drive.
Recordings also please check with the admin team, so admin team will give all those details.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Offline people, any questions? Okay, no questions. Thank you. Thank you.